Okay. Hi, everyone. We are slowly getting ready for our first Ask Me Anything for Breakout Beauty 2026, which is super, super exciting. Before we start, I'm just going to let everyone slowly trickle in and give a little background of what we're doing today. So, as many of you know, Breakout Beauty is back, bigger and better for this summer, which we're super excited about. And today is our session to discuss everything to do about the program. For anyone that's joining us today, this is your time to ask us all the questions you have around the program. You've got Paul here today, obviously our architect for the program. We've also got special guests, and today we've got Louis, which is our cohort from 2025. And so I think we've got a great set of people here that can get all your questions. So before we start, a little housekeeping for everybody. Um, Today's session is primarily going to be a Q&A, but what we will do is kick off the first 20 minutes, a little bit of background around the program. So Paul today will give you some background around what the program is, important dates, etc. Then we will leave the remainder of the webinar today to do sort of a Q&A for everybody. So I want everyone to check that they've got the Q&A on. You can put in your questions as we're going through the webinar, or you can also do it at the end once we kick off the Q&A. You can also upvote in case there's any questions you guys think are more you want to hear better than others. So the webinar in total will be recorded. So if you feel like you need to pop off or you've missed something, don't worry, everything will be shared with you. And lastly, but not least, we will ask also to, if you can spare us less than a minute to fill out a little survey, just so that we understand if these webinars are relevant to you guys or if you want to see new topics. We'd really love it if you could take just a minute to fill them in. Okay, that's enough from me. Boring stuff. Paul, Louis, off to you.
It's interesting stuff, Sonia. Thanks very much. Hi, Louis. Hi, everybody. Thanks very much for joining us. There's a few familiar faces that have signed up for the webinar. So, as Sonia says, today is very much about giving you an introduction to what Breakout Beauty is, why it exists, what we're hoping to achieve, and basically answer any questions that you might have about participating or joining in the program. I'll be joined, as Sonia said, by Louis. Louis, say hello.
Hello.
And any questions, please just put them in the Q&A or once I'm done, feel free to ask. I've got to start with a massive caveat. I'm in very rural Somerset, and about half an hour ago, I got a text message saying that there's going to be interim outages on my electricity. So if I accidentally get cut off halfway through something really interesting, you'll need to wait about 20 seconds for me to jump onto 4G, but fingers crossed that won't happen. So before we start, this is one of a series of webinars that we're trying to do. So at Breakout Beauty, what we're trying to do is make things really easy for beauty founders in your position to launch, build, scale, raise capital, raise investment, and ultimately get into retail. And as part of that, we've created a series of webinars to basically cover all you need to do within those topics. So we've got people like Nicola from HSBC Innovation Banking and Kira from Investor Partners who'll be talking about, do you raise money? What type of money? Where do you start? What do you do? We've got Oriel Frank, who's the founder of Elemis, who you probably know. She's going to be talking about the challenges of creating a sustainable beauty brand. We've got Marina from Wonderskin and a few more people as well. But the next session we've got coming up is with Ning, the founder of Beauty Crop, and Daisy, the founder of Glow For It, about their experiences getting into retail and specifically around getting into boots and why they decided to go down that route, where they started, what the process was, what worked, what didn't work, what they'd do differently. So we've done webinars with both of them before. They're fantastic. So please make sure you are signed up for them both. A little bit of context about Breakout Beauty and Growth Studio. So our company is Growth Studio. We're a fairly well-known startup accelerator. We've run something like 90 startup accelerator programs like this one. Breakout is part of a suite of programs specifically around the consumer sector. So we've got Breakout Beauty, we've got Breakout Wellness coming down the line. We work with the Fragrance Foundation on their accelerator. We work with Amazon. So in terms of understanding what your challenges are and how to scale your beauty brand or consumer brand, you're in very good hands. Last year, we decided to launch Breakout Beauty. And the idea from that came from a lot of interviews we've been doing with founders in the beauty space around the complexity of scaling a business, of how hard it was to raise money, of making the right decision around, do you go into retail? Do you stay on DTC? Where do you put your money and your time when you have neither? In terms of, should you focus on YouTube, on Instagram, on Meta, on TikTok Shop, and just the absolute catastrophe of challenges that exist for people in your position. And what we wanted to do is create a program that solved all of that for founders, but also helps you get to the next stage. So, from a lifestyle business to a scaled business. And part of that was working with the industry as well to open doors that remain quite firmly shut for smaller businesses, for helping them understand what you need and bringing together a really strong ecosystem of people that can help you scale your business. And our mission last year was we wanted to be the biggest beauty program of its kind. And we were, tick. We wanted to build a consortium of respected beauty entrepreneurs, experts, and consumer startups, so that the people that you're speaking to are experts in your field. And last year, we had the privilege of being joined by some incredible talent and entrepreneurs. We had Trini Woodall. We had Mitchell Halliday from Made by Mitchell. We had Colette from The Inky List. We had the founders of Vive, MD London, Glow for It, so many more that were sharing their experiences of how they scaled and raised their brands. We had a number of different partners, including Boots, who commissioned, who committed to having 2 brands in store by the end of the program in 10 stores each. And actually, the program was so successful, and they were so impressed by the founders that 2 of the founders are going into Boots now, one in 50 stores and the other one in 370 stores. Now, they will be launching, I think, in September. But in terms of the scale of what you can do, it's quite big. And then finally, we wanted to make quite a lot of noise, buzz, press, all of which we did. Now, this year, the ambition is to go even bigger. Last year, we had a 6-week program. It was incredibly intensive. And so we've decided to go for a longer program this year, which is over 10 weeks, because it helps us support you better. We've got more partners involved, all of whom who have a vested interest in helping your brand scale. And we've got much higher ambitions for the caliber of people we're bringing into the program, how we can support you throughout the program and beyond. And also what we're going to be doing in terms of people who don't get through to the program, but also have something special about them. So the program itself, it's a completely free program. Our model is that we design the program and we go out and get sponsorship for it so that startups like you don't have to pay. It is completely free. There's no catch. You won't be asked for any money. So it's all generously funded by our partners. The way it works, it's a 10-week program. And across that 10 weeks, there's probably 9 to 10 days in person where we're going to have a suite of masterclasses on everything from how to build your brand, how to get into retail, what your unit economics are, how to make a profitable business, making sure you're making the right decisions around distribution, around manufacturing, around logistics and third-party logistics, and for everything. And that will culminate in a pitch to about 150 people right at the end of the program, where you're going to be formally introducing your business to a room full of industry experts, media, retailers, investors. Last year, the ambition was to have 10 founders. We ended up with 12, including Louis. Say hi, Louis. And 12 is really the maximum number of founders that we'd ever have on the program. With 12 founders, it means that we're connecting people in a really close cohort so they can help each other out, support each other, build a community together. And it means they also get the personalized attention that they want. So we never go above 12 founders in our programs. We've got 2 of our partners, a number of partners coming back from last year. So Boots are our headline retail partner. We've got TikTok Shop partners, and we are formally announcing all of the other partners on the 20th of April. So we'll be going live with a big PR push, and email campaign. So you'll see all of the formal partners who are involved in the program on the 21st. We've got 2 industry events. So the very first is a kickoff at the start of the program. And this is when last year we had Trinny Woodall came to be interviewed about how she scaled her business. We had 160 people, I think, that came to the event. So it was throwing you in right at the deep end and introducing the cohort of people to the people in the room so they could follow you across the next few weeks. And as I said, that will culminate in an evening event where you'll be formally presenting back your businesses to that room. And we'll be handing over some of the prizes that people will be pitching for. So the types of prizes that are on offer is listings and boots. TikTok Shop have created a bespoke, unique series of support, discounts, and money can't buy experiences that you'll be able to pitch for. And some of our partners are coming in with additional things. So what we're trying to do is not only train you so you've got brilliant foundations for growing your beauty business, but also there's transformational prizes that you can apply to your business. So you can really accelerate that, how you grow your business as well. And I'll be asking Louis about some of the other things that he got out of the program in a few minutes. We can teach you everything we know about how to scale a business, how to raise investment, how to get into retail. But actually, the people that have been there and done it have got so much better capacity to share their experiences, their war wounds, their wins, what they did differently. And we've got some incredible ambassadors from our beauty board who'll be coming in and meeting with you and talking to their experiences about how they got into retail, around how they raised investment, how they built communities, what they did on TikTok, new product development, how you focus on sustainability. So there's a number of really well-known faces here. But we've also got some really high profile ones. And again, we'll be announcing that formally on the 20th of April, because we've got some big guns coming in, which I'm super excited about. And a few pinch me moments as well. You'll know them well, irrespective of your experiences in the beauty world. So they're here to help you, support you, champion you, and share their experiences. But also, with these ambassadors brings the profile of the program and also your involvement much, much higher. Key dates for the program. So it's now the 20th of April that applications open. It's the day before, and applications close on the 15th of June. I would say you need about 15 minutes, 20 minutes to run through the application form. It's basically there so we can try and find out as much information about you, your products, your market, who you are as a founder, what you're trying to achieve. And I'll come to top tips in a second about how best to run these programs, because we always have a bias of the type of profile or founder that we look for. But we also see something special in people who might not hit all of the criteria. Say hello, Louis, which I'll talk about in a sec. So we've got flexibility to bring in brilliant people, and fundamentally that's what we're looking for. So the application form does take a little while. It's 15 minutes. The more effort you put into it, the higher your chances are of being selected. And in terms of our selection process, we bring in industry experts from the world of investment, from beauty, from our experiences running 90-odd programs, to holistically evaluate founders, and then we'll invite people forth to join the program. The launch event is on the 14th of July, and then that's when we sort of formally kick off. There'll be, as I said, about 9 to 10 in-person days, and those are solid 9 to 5 days. Most of them will be in London. There'll be one in Nottingham, and we'll be able to share the schedule relatively soon of when those days are. And then on the 1st of October, that's the big finale where we bring everyone in to present. And yeah, that's the culmination of the program. But I think you'll also find from last year's cohorts, that's kind of where the hard work really starts, because once you've made all the connections and you have those foundational skills, the world's your oyster to go and grab. So the type of founders we're looking for, bluntly, I really want exceptional founders, people that are commercial, they're investable, they're scalable, they've got a good story, they've got the X factor, they're ambitious. They're driven and motivated because they want to be entrepreneurs, or they found a problem that they feel hasn't been addressed, or they're unbelievably passionate about the space that they're working at, or they're just driven by mischief to go and disrupt and fuck some shit up. All of which we had in the previous cohort. But for me, it starts with the founder, because the founder is the most interesting part about the brand. Your products, your business model, your retail strategy, your distribution can all change, but it's the people at the helm of the business that for me are most interesting. Ideally, we're looking for brands with traction. And I think this is where a lot of the challenges come up with the application form. Is we're looking for people that have some level of indication of product market fit or traction, because that demonstrates that you're building something the market really wants. And so, people that have got projected revenue of anywhere between £100,000 and 3 to 4 million, they're the people that I think will get the most out of the program, because we've designed the curriculum for people at that scale to apply all of the brilliant things that we're doing. And I would say for people who are looking to get into retail within 6 to 9 months of the program, that's kind of the sweet spot. However, we have got some incredible partners on the program. We are also looking to create some adjacent boot camps and immersive sessions and other support, all of which will be announced shortly. So if you don't fit that criteria, that's okay. Still apply, because if we've got your details and our partners are looking for people, or we see an opportunity, if we've got your details, we'll make introductions. If we do other boot camps, we will be in touch. So if you don't think you match that traction, that's okay. I'd urge you still to apply. We're looking for exciting brands, people that have cult, unique, exceptional brands, that they're serving an underserved community. They're doing something better or differently than the incumbents, that they get people in the beauty world excited. We're looking for people that have got retail or investor appeal. So they're looking to scale. They could be national. They could be either very prestige into top end or mass market. Irrespective, if you're looking to get into retail, join us. And then ambition. And I suspect that what you want from us is all of the access to give you foundations to scale your business. You want your profile raised, so it helps you get more customers, more connections, more investors. Connections and intros, which you'll be drowning in from across the supply chain and the beauty industry, but also commercial growth. I think I measure the success of the program by where people started and what they've achieved by the end of the program and beyond. The top tips I would say for the application form: be really honest. I don't want a sales pitch, or we don't want a sales pitch. We want to understand where you are right now, where you've come from, where you're going, why you want to be on the program, or why you feel the program is right for you. Warts and all. I think the most interesting and successful founders have got really clear blind spots. They go, we're good at here, but this is where we need help, or we're not good here. It helps us evaluate better and works out if you're a fit for the program, not if you're the best founder. Every single cohort I've ever been on, so 90 odd cohorts, everybody always feels that they're the weakest link in the cohort, or everyone else is more successful, or everyone else is all together. There is endemic insecurities and blind spots in founders. I suspect most of you will probably feel the same. It's something we help you overcome, but don't worry about any of your insecurities. Just let us know what they are, or let us know what you're strong at and what you're weak at, because that's why we're here to help. Do your research. And it sounds a bit homeworky, but last year we had some potential great brands apply for the program, but they didn't bother to look about what the program was, or what we were trying to achieve, or who the partners were. So spend a bit of time on our website, looking at the program criteria, looking at what we're after, and then do it. But also, I will categorically disagree with anyone that says we are the only business doing this, or we're the only product that does that, because inevitably a 5-second Google will show that you're not. So know your competition really well, know who you're up against, know whether or not you're right for TikTok or right for Boots or any of our partners. It's okay if you're not, that's fine, but just don't bring in sweeping assumptions about your business. clear the decks. And again, I'm going to ask Louis to talk to this a little bit. It's an intensive 10-week program. We need founders that are committed to it, that will be there the entire time. We've got 10 in-person days, and then we've got virtual sessions, not that many between those, but we're trying to cram an awful lot into the business because this should be a year's course. We're trying to do it in 10 weeks. But the founders that get the most out of the program know why they're on the program, know what they want to get out of it, and have the time to commit to it. And as I said, if you're in any doubt, I would urge you to apply anyway, because there's people that applied that didn't get on the program that we're still supporting, helping, introducing to our partners, trying to get in touch with them. So if we have your details, we can help you. The frequently asked questions: is it free? Yes, you don't pay anything. What's the catch? No catch. We're just looking for great founders. The only fee that is incurred is if we help secure you investment. There's a small referral fee. That's it. Mandatory requirements. You have to be a UK registered company by the start of the program. So that shows that you're a committed business. You have to be UK based. You need to be able to commit, or someone in your team needs to commit to being able to do the 10 days in person. Inevitably, life gets in the way. People might have holidays or weddings. As long as there's someone represented, or we know, the days that you can't do, that's fine. You have to have products in market. Having 6 SKUs is great. Saying that, one of the people that got down to the shortlist last year hadn't launched her product yet, but she was doing something really interesting. The selection process, we will look at each and every application form in detail. We'll do our research about what you're doing, so make sure you've got your links and everything else. And then we will be looking at, are you a fit for the program? Are you doing something interesting? Are you commercial? Are you solving a problem? Do you do what you claim to do? And this is where we bring our beauty experts who can really talk to the sector, the products and everything else. And then we'll invite probably about 20 to 25 people for in-person interviews. And off those, we'll then select the final 10 to 12 to be on the program. Now, sometimes, as we will be looking at applications as they come in, we might jump on a quick call just to clarify a few things. Or if you're interested, you might jump on a call and just go, look, tell me a bit more about this or that. Please don't be nervous. We just want to find out more about your business. As I said, clear the decks. It will be intense. Louis, now, we obviously met you last year at another one of our accelerators.
Yeah.
In terms of revenue, you were much earlier stage than everybody else.
Yeah.
But we brought you in anyway because we really liked you. So, your thoughts about the accelerator? So, why was it that you were inclined to join? And what did you get out of it?
Yeah, well, it's so mad because Abby, who's part of the Breakout Beauty team, messaged me on LinkedIn and was like, "Hey, I got the Amazon program for you. Like, would love to chat to you about it." And I was like, "Yeah, okay." Literally almost missed the message. Then we jumped on a call, spoke about that, and I actually went on to Growth Studio website and saw the Breakout Beauty program and was like, really like the sound of this. Like, can I hear more? And I was just speaking to her about the program. Then I did the Amazon Innovator Accelerator in Swansea. Spoke to Ryan because I didn't know Ryan was there, so obviously the other co-founder of Growth Studio, and he was like, I want to talk to you about the program. I was like, yeah, okay. And I said to him at the time, I was like, I don't have 6 SKUs. I've only got 1 product. It's still myself at the moment in the business. Like, it's still very early days. And he just looked at me and was like, just apply anyway. And very much what Paul said, like, the details are still going to be there. It's still going to be seen by the head buyers at Boots. You're still going to be seen by all those people in the British Beauty Council. So all those people, you will then be on their radar. And for me, I was like, okay. So they were kind of like this, I'm just going to apply and see what happens kind of mentality with it. And then I had the interview with Paul, which was about an hour, wasn't it? It was about an hour, I think it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it was a great way for me to just sort of go and like, full transparency for me. Like, I remember seeing my presentation and I was like, oh, I don't think it looks very good. I was like, I don't really know what to say. I was like, but I'm just gonna go in and just speak and just be myself. And to be honest with you, I think it was a really, really good conversation for about an hour of just talking about my business, but also talking about where I see it going. And like Paul said as well, you kind of it's quite good because I think for me, I felt as though I was the least experienced in the cohort. And I actually used that to my advantage to literally absorb as much information as possible. So I was literally leaving, like my ego was like there was no ego at all. I was like, I just don't know these things. I need to ask people about them. And I think I absorbed as much as I could from the interview as well. And just sort of explain like, oh yeah, this is where I'm at. This is sort of what this is why I think this is why I want to be in boots and this is my aspiration. And just sort of being sat down with a growth studio team and being like, okay, how can we make this commercially viable for a company like Boots? There were questions that like I never even thought of before, and it just sort of made me think a lot differently to how I operate the business and how I can see Clear for Men growing in the future. So it definitely got me thinking about different things that I never thought about before.
And on that, we should probably give you 20 seconds to talk about Clear for Men. What is Clear for Men?
Yeah, yeah, so Clear for Men is a skincare brand I started from my own mental health journey back in 2021. I sort of lost sight of who I was as a person, and my whole mission is I want to try and restore confidence in men and be a daily reminder for men to take five every day through the act of self-care. And every sale we get, we donate 15% of the profits to the mental health charities campaign against living miserably and also to Mind. And I want to be that role model that I wish I had when I was younger for other men to see that it's not weak to talk about our vulnerabilities, but strength and seeking the support. So trying our best to remind men to take five, restore confidence, and give back in the process.
And if you use it, you might get skin like mine. Louis, what would you recommend to people thinking about applying?
I would say apply it. I would like 100% say apply it. I think for me, before I had spoken to Ryan, when I spoke to Abby, and before I spoke to Ryan, I was very much of the idea of like, oh, I probably won't apply because I don't fit the criteria. When I spoke to Ryan, he was like, no, just apply anyway. It completely changed how I thought about it. On paper, I was like, I'm not eligible to apply, but I just kind of shot my shot and just thought, oh, you know, why not? And I think I think I put a LinkedIn post about it as well, like shooting my shot in public, which is one of those things I just thought, you just don't know what can happen from it. It's kind of one of those funny things you just never know. But I would say apply anyway because you just don't know who would see that. Even to this day, I still get messages from Paul or a voice note from Paul saying, "Hey, just introducing someone to you now. I'm going to send an email." And it's someone that's really, really, again, think it's helping me to think of different ways to grow the business and things that I never thought of before. So having those connections are literally priceless, and it's opened doors for me that it would have taken years to have opened, whereas now they're wide open for me. So it's been unbelievable. So
I think that is the thing is our entire partner strategy was predicated on not just having sponsors for a program, but people that have got a very genuine vested interest into your long-term success.
yeah,
So with Boots, it's not just about seeing new brands; it's about how we can help them find new brands that can be there for the next 2, 5, 10 years that they can sort of co-grow together. So two of the brands in the program, as I said, one is going into 50 stores. Retail hadn't really been on her journey, for want of a better word, and she's now having to change a lot of her packaging, relook at her claims, change some of the bottling. But then all of the other partners on the program are helping her do that and volunteering to help get her ready. The other ones are going into 370 stores, which is to go from zero retail to pretty much every Boots in the country is obviously quite radical. But again, a lot of the banks and investors that are aligned in the program are all helping them finance things like that. So everyone's interested in making sure that you are growing your business. And all of them really want to meet great founders. All of them want to find out more about your business, where you're going, how they can help. So it's a genuinely really nice cohort of partners. With that, Sonia, how are we doing with questions?
We've got a couple questions coming in, but I think
Okay.
we've got, yeah. Do you want to kick off with some questions?
I think so. Otherwise, I'll
Okay.
just keep looking at everyone for the.
No, that's perfect. I think great. Well, first of all, thanks so much for all that detail. I was also looking, some people were putting in their details on founders that are joining us today, and there's a great variety of beauty brands that have joined us. So this is great to see. Right. I'm going to start with a couple Q&As, and then I think as people start to add on, I'll kind of take an approach of whoever comes first, and we'll take it from there. Anyone that hasn't had the chance, we'll try to answer anything after via email. But let's start off with this question, which I thought was a great one, and I'm sure everyone's asking themselves is, what does the ideal founder profile look like? Because I know we spoke about the fact that even if you don't think you're necessarily eligible because you don't fit the criteria, I think it's more like what founder kind of personality. Or, here it asks what disqualifies a brand from being a good fit, but I think let's focus on what is that ideal founder profile.
I'll try and answer both, and it's really hard because there might be some founders that have a brilliant product, but aren't that commercial, or highly people who are highly experienced, but they're difficult to work with. It's difficult. So I think for me, the ideal type of founder is someone that's really driven. Being a startup founder is really tough. You've given up a nice crazy salary and holidays and working 9 to 5 to put everything into your business, and you're driven to try and make it work. So I think for us, a founder on a mission, someone that really wants to grow their brand, that they eat, sleep, think beauty, or their brands and products, that they really care about their customers and the relationships their customers or potential customers have with their brands or products. People that love what they're doing. I think that for me is the most important one, because if you have that drive and that passion and that enthusiasm, everything gets easier. I think the second one is people that are doing this because this is what their lifestyle is now. There are some great lifestyle businesses there. There are some great side hustles, and we'll be doing stuff for them. But I don't think this is your program. This is for people that really want to elevate their business from where it is to to accelerate it 2 years in the space of 10 weeks. So people that are really hungry to learn everything that they can about how they grow their business, about the business and the industry, to answer really critical questions about their business, who want to transform or change or refine their business model, their business strategy. I think people who have traction, it's really important, because that shows you're creating something that the world wants. And I think people that are looking to work hard, because it is hard work and it is fairly binary. Apart from a very lucky few, the amount of work you put into your business results in the success that comes out of it. I think the things that would disqualify. One other thing to that is we see different types of archetypes of founder that come into the program. You've got your classic entrepreneur that just wants to make a lot of money. You've got your person who loves the product, or the craft of making the product, or they love the problem that they're solving and they want to create the perfect product. You've got your people that solve a problem or see a problem, they just want to solve it. That's my sort of personality. And we also recognize that in your early stage of the business, you have to be good at marketing, at finance, at relationships, at retention, at fulfillment, at everything. And the reality is that pretty much no one is good at all of those things. So the program is here to help you understand your strengths and weaknesses and what gaps there are in the business and how you fill them. So don't worry if you're great at one thing. If you're brilliant at influencing on TikTok, but you're not so good at the packaging and mechanics or the finances, don't worry. That's fine. We've got you covered. The things that I think will put us off, if you're just running this as a side hustle and you don't want to grow it that much bigger, that's fine. It's just this program isn't a fit for you. I think if you're very early stage, or you haven't quite got a product yet, or you're still working out the product, I'd say apply. So we've got your details. We can help you with other initiatives, but maybe this isn't the program for you just yet. I think people who don't listen, and it's a real challenge, because as a founder, you've got to stick to your guns a lot of times, and you've got to sort of listen to a lot of noise and work out what to filter and what to ignore. But people who aren't open to being challenged, people who aren't open to getting lots of different feedback and thoughts, usually don't work that well on these programs, because everyone's here to help you. And the product of that is you get expert advice and support and input throughout the program, because everyone wants you to grow your business. The bad side of that is 90% of that is genius gold. 10% sometimes might not be relevant, but you've got to be able to listen and work with us, work part of the team. So you need to be a little bit humble coming into the programs. That was
Yeah, I mean that's a great way to put it. And just to kind of circle back on the piece you were saying about if you're like, a small brand on early stage, I've got a couple of people coming in with some more specifics. So just so we're super clear, um, early stage brands with low revenue, can they still be considered, or pre-revenue or pre-launch?
Yeah, look, when we look at a founder or an applicant, we look at a number of different things. So for us, the team, who's the person or the people in the business? What drives them? What do they bring to the table? Can we see something special in him? And I think Louis particularly blew everyone out of the water when we first met him. The second one is traction. Have you got any indicators that you're creating something that people want and will use and will want to buy? And the easiest way of doing that is traction. If you've sold £500,000 of your black lipstick, we know that there's people out there that want to buy black lipstick. Great. If you're at a very early stage, I think the way I'd evaluate that is: have you done any research? Have you spoken to people? Have you done surveys? Have you done a competitive analysis to go, right, there's a desire and need for this product or solution, but they're being really underserved. That to me is really impactful. It shows your commercial acumen as a founder, but it also shows that, okay, we don't have this product yet, but we're doing something really interesting. So as an example, one of the founders that got into selection last year was doing skincare specifically for GLP-1s. She didn't have a product yet, but we knew that the market was growing. And she had interesting background. So that's why she selected. So if you're very early stage, that's fine, but we want to know why you're doing it. We want to know what traction you've had or indicators of traction, that you know your market, and that you know what this could be. So it's just about telling us that right story, not to try and sell it to us, but just go, here's where I am, here's where I want to be, here's why I think there's potential. And we'll look at everyone. As I said, the 10 to 12 that get on the program, it's not that they're the best companies, they're just the most appropriate for what we're trying to do with the program. But we had people that we still speak to a year on, that still introduce people who didn't get on the program, who didn't have a product, or who had like 500 quid in sales. Next year will be their year. But what we're trying to do outside of Breakout Beauty is make sure that we've got other initiatives. So yes, apply, don't worry, just contextualize that early stage.
Yeah, and I mean, to add to that, we were always saying we're always providing extra resources for anyone. So I think there's nothing that would hurt from anyone applying, trying, you never know. You only miss the shots that you don't make. Is that how it goes?
Yeah.
And then we've got a plethora of other resources we're always sharing. So I think regardless, there's something for everybody that can come out of trying to do this application.
Sorry, we've got a plethora of other programs as well, which is the important thing. So
That's
obviously,
right. Yeah, absolutely. And actually, we will get to that in a little bit. But I actually wanted to now turn a little bit to Louis. And there's a question here that's asking, what was your favorite part of the program? And I think that'd be interesting to hear.
Ooh,
don't say
that's
don't say me, it'll make me blush.
I I would say I would probably say pitch into Boots. I think going to Boots HQ was really, really cool. I think it was nice to sort of see a little bit of like behind the curtain, getting to actually pitch the brands, to Boots. It was really weird as well, because I actually, so the buyer that I had pitched to on the first day of Boots, that was a woman that I reached out to on LinkedIn back in January, so before I knew about Breakout Beauty. So when I walked into the room and saw her, she was like, Louis, and I was like, yeah, oh my god, like, so there was already a relationship that was like sort of already been built, but like from that, like I feel as though I've just strengthened my relationship with those buyers, and like right now I look at it and go, okay, right now Clear for Men's not ready yet for retail, and that's okay, but I built those relationships so that when the time is right, like I know that I've already got those connections in place, and it's just a matter of just reaching out again. But I would say like going to Boots to Unreal, I think it was just nice to just sort of ask just ask as many questions as possible. I think that for me, I think like as a whole, I think it was just nice to just have, and like Paul said, like it is an intense program, but I think in a way that's actually quite a good thing, because I think you can absorb as much as possible. And I think I was asking everybody as many questions as possible, like even questions that from where I am in my business, I'm like 5 years in now, like questions that like I was almost reluctant to ask, because I was thinking, oh, I feel like I should know this, but actually no one knows everything. So like I'll put my hand up in front of everyone and just say like, I got a quick question about like what does this mean in terms of finances, or like how can I do this to make myself a bit more commercially viable for a retailer like Boots. So all these different things that like I just didn't know. I think that was one of my favorite things. Actually, just I felt comfortable asking any question to anyone on the program, and I think that was like Paul said as well, like having like being okay with like having that bit of feedback on how you can make it better. It just helped me grow as a person, and it opened my mind to like, okay, I could like probably 10x my business next year, or and like that for me was like invaluable. So I definitely say like the freedom to be able to feel comfortable asking questions. But in terms of the days, I'd probably say Boots. That was awesome. That was such a good day.
And getting interviewed by Trini Woodall within the first
And Trini
hour.
Woodall, that was also yes, oh yes, that was actually really cool as well. That was very cool.
Yeah, that was pretty
That
cool.
was very, very cool.
Yeah, and actually, you make a good point because sometimes, maybe you've asked a question that somebody else was too shy to ask. So I think
Yeah,
there's
that's it.
like, that group entity that you create once you join a program like this. There's a value in just learning, amongst each other and motivating
Yeah,
each other and so forth. So we notice
yeah.
that, as people
Yeah.
in the program. Great. I'm going to move now a little bit more program focused. So I got a couple questions asking about categories. So I'm going to
Yep.
try and merge them a little bit. But the first one is, does Breakout Beauty favor certain beauty categories? So I know we've got a range of different categories we've listed. So do we favor anyone in particular?
No, not really. I think what's interesting to look at is we've got a range, as to Sonia's point, we've got a range of categories: skincare, hair care, cosmetics. I will forget the others, but a wide range of consumer products. I think for if you're a technology or an accessory, again, we're always really keen to hear about what you're up to. We don't have a tech play for this program, but if you've got an interesting bit of technology, maybe apply and just with a view that we might be able to help you elsewhere. I don't know. We don't. I think from the partners. So Boots are obviously trying to get in. They're in this because they want to get the best new brands first before anybody else. So I'd have a look at what Boots are up to. They've got they're interested in any brands or any products or any categories that will sell lots, that will make their customers happy, that will make their customers go to Boots rather than some of their competitors. I think if you're in a really crowded category with established brands, you obviously need to fight a little bit harder. If you're in a brand new category, and we had some people last year that were in quite unique categories, obviously the challenge there is where do you fit on a shelf in a store. So there's no favorites, but there's complexities between any of the categories that you fall into, or not. There's context, I guess, with any categories. I think for us, it comes to from a program perspective. I want to see people with potential to turn into 20, 50, 100 million pound brands. So I don't really care what the category is, as long as the founder's doing something incredible and can do something incredible. That's what drives me. With TikTok Shop, we're going to be doing some really interesting things around like how do if you not all brands are relevant for TikTok and TikTok Shop, and that's okay. But the ones that are, we're going to be giving you quite intense views on how to strategically scale with TikTok Shop, how to do lives. We're going to get you in front of the camera. And again, for the categories, just see what's blowing up on TikTok Shop and see how you can learn from them. So there's no preferential treatment. It's around the opportunity, the founder, what you're doing and where you're going.
And to
Can I
add
just?
to that, oh yeah, no, go ahead.
Are you sure?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
go for it.
So sorry, no, I was just going to say as well, like with what Paul was just saying then about like live shopping, I think personally I'm seeing like a massive increase in my business with live shopping, and but just also in the beauty space as a whole. I think live shopping is something that like is massive at the moment on like so many platforms. TikTok is huge for it, and a lot of like getting comfortable in front of that camera is so it can be so daunting. I find that I do it sometimes. Like even yesterday, I went live for 3.5 hours, 4 hours, which like a lot of my time, but like the amount of people that you can connect to on there and just tell your story to is unbelievable. And like we had a day, didn't we? Where I think I can't remember what the company was called, But when we had that day where we were just sort of getting in front of the camera and sort of practicing a live stream, like it was so cool. But like it's nice to sort of get comfortable in front of the camera, and that can be quite difficult. So that day was really helpful. So
one thing we focus a lot on is helping people overcome nerves. So you'll be
mm,
doing a lot on storytelling, on pitching, on public speaking, on presenting. So by the end of the program, you'll be, you won't be nervous at all. You'll be. One thing we pride ourselves on is the caliber of presenters at the end of the program. Even people who hate speaking in public,
yeah.
of which there's many, but funny.
Great. No, and thanks for mentioning that, Lewis, because I mean, and we follow you also on socials, and we know you're killing it. And I think it's a great point that you've pointed this out. I think a lot of people can get quite nervous or a bit embarrassed, but it's really overcoming that. And so I actually wanted to add to that question about the categories because Paul, they're asking if there's a cross category between beauty and wellness. And we did talk about this as well earlier today.
Yeah. So again, some of the, it's a bit of a challenge. So we do have a wellness program coming up that's more focused on traditional wellness. So even though wellness has got quite a broad category. So I think the barriers between beauty and wellness are merging quite a lot. I think if you can see yourself in a retailer, if you can see yourself, supporting people's beauty's regime or how they feel or how they live, often there is overlap in beauty. I think the challenges comes into from a retailer's perspective often is what category do you sit in as a product that's cross category and whose budget do you come out of and where do you sit on the shelf? But that's the practicality that we can work out in the background. So I'd say if you're a wellness brand, but you feel that you're more on the beauty side, I would apply. We do have a wellness program launching about 6 weeks after this one. So what might happen is if you apply and we go, actually, you feel much more suited to the wellness program, which is a very, very, very similar format. It might be that we just get in touch with you and go, actually, we might just transpose your application over to the wellness program.
Yeah, and actually, I've put in the link now for everyone to have a look because we are aware of this sort of, how can I say, the fact that there could be similarities in a brand. So check out the link and see if there's anything. We've got pre-registering links for that as well. So if you want to be in the know,
I think the things for us to consider is with wellness brands, I think there's a lot more nuances with what you can claim the product does. And with that comes complexities around legalities, around packaging, around communication, around how you can advertise on some of the social commerce programs like TikTok or Meta. And I would say that if you are a product that has those types of challenges to overcome, the wellness program would probably be better. If you don't, maybe sit in the beauty. And I think the thing is that we're building two adjacent but different ecosystems. So for wellness brands, the board, the expert board of famous people we're getting in are slightly different. The media partners, the investors are all more focused on wellness rather than beauty. So I'd say that's a differentiation.
Yeah. Okay, I think now we're getting to our last 10 minutes. I want to dedicate 2 more questions. And I'll first want to ask one about more to do with the application. So Paul, I'm going to direct to you. And the question is, do we need to send anything supporting to the application? So I don't know if we can talk a little bit about, here they gave an example as a video, for example. What can we talk a little bit about what the application form is going to look like and what it's going to include?
So I think with the application form, my advice would be really like understand why we're asking a question and what we want to see. We don't want sales pitch to hear about how you're the greatest, most unique, best. It's kind of a two-way interview. We want to know details about your business and your challenges and where you are and where you aren't. And I think the reality is that we get a ton of these. We get a ton of links to your websites, to your socials, all of which we'll ask for. But I don't think anything beats seeing or hearing a founder. So one of the things we ask for is for you to make a short video, just to introduce your brand, why you want to be on the program, just so we can contextualize that. And it's usually like 1 minute to 2 minute videos, and the diversity and range of videos was supreme. So we had people who, classic content creators that had really well polished, really well put together, beautiful looking videos. And that was great. We also had people like in cars, like, people my age, boomers, doing that, where the quality of the video was crap, but actually what they said on who they were was brilliant. The quality of the video doesn't matter. What the videos are there for us to do is get a bit more personality of the person behind the business, understand who you are a bit better, because that's the most important thing. I'd say that if we even had just a 1 minute video, I can probably get more about the founder than a long application form. So yes, we want to make a video. Yes, we're asking for a video where it's just we can understand a bit more about you. I think the second one is, if you want to send product, you can do. It's not mandatory. It doesn't change your chances of getting in. But I know some people sort of feel that having the product in your hand helps get, a better sense of what the brand or the product is about. So you can send in products, but it's not mandatory, and it doesn't dictate any preferential treatment. For the people that get down to the final interviews, we ask all of you to send some of your product samples, because, that's where it's going to be. We'll have buyers and investors and things evaluating. So that's really important for them to see what the product is.
Nice. Thanks, Paul.
You're welcome.
One last question, and I'm going to direct it to both of you, because I think will be interesting to hear both perspectives. So the question starts as, what does success look like at the end of 10 weeks? So Paul, what should a founder walk away with?
I think it's a great question. The way that we work is that day one of the program, we'll run a deep dive. So, it's an hour and a half with you to really understand everything about you, your business, the warts and all, what keeps you up at night, where you want to be, just so we can understand who you are. So we can kind of be by your side in the 10 weeks. And in that program, we ask everyone to set 3 goals for the end of the program. And those goals go anywhere from, I want to be turning over £1 million by the end of next year, or I want to be really competent at investment readiness, or I want to do a thing. Everyone will have very different goals, and that's okay. But we make goals and we track those goals to make sure you achieve them. If you don't have those goals, often they don't happen. I think for me, success, my personal one for any of the programs, is the program has been the most instrumental few weeks you've ever spent on your business, because it's given you access to people you wouldn't have got. It's changed your mindset. It's refined your strategy. And that for me is my one KPI, is that this is the most important thing that you've done in your business. But I think be really clear about why you're doing the program. It's a lot of time. It's a lot of investment and effort. It's going to be really busy. So do you want to do that because retail is absolutely the one thing you want to get out? Is it that you want to double your revenue or your profit? Is it you want to raise your profile? Be really clear and selfish about what your personal goal is. We're going to give you intense amounts of great stuff, but actually make it really relevant to you and your business, and then help you get those KPIs. Louis?
Yeah, I think for me, like, I knew when I was applying, I knew when I first got on the program that, like, I wasn't retail ready. I think from every point in my business, I was not retail ready. But my goal in the program was to literally absorb as much information as possible. It is an intense program, there's no denying that, but I actually think that it gives you the chance to focus on your business rather than in it. And I think a lot of last year I spent so much time in my business that I wasn't actually growing. This allowed me to think more of, like, there was so many, like, small, like, little bits of like bits of gold that I was just finding in, like, every, like, webinar, or like when we were doing the in-person days. It was always that one thing I was like, this is going to stick, and that's going to help me improve the business and, like, change my mindset on what I want to try and get out of the for my brand. I would say, like, yeah, I second what Paul said. Like, it is so important that, like, you go in there with what is your goal from it. But, like, I knew I wasn't ready to be pitched into boots, but I wanted to create those connections for when I am. And I also wanted to just sort of go, how can I absorb as much information as possible? Because I think a lot of the time, imposter syndrome can take over. We feel like we're not getting anywhere. But actually going in a room full of, for me, like, going into a room of 11 other business owners and saying, I don't know about this. Can you help me with it? And knowing that 8 or 9 of them have experienced it, it is very comforting. And I had it with the lads from Make Waves. Like we had a conversation on the very last day, and we were talking about all different things with like manufacturing. And I was like, I didn't even think these were questions I wasn't even going to ask because I thought they were silly questions, but it was something that really put my mind at ease. So I think like no question is a silly question. Go in and absorb as much as you can, and like have fun. It's intense, but like have fun on it because I think it can really change your mindset on like where your business is and where it could potentially be. And I think seeing that so many people had so many people could see the belief in me, it helped
Mm.
me have that belief in
Mm.
myself. Like I get voice notes from Paul being like, "Why couldn't you do 10x this year?" And I was like, "I don't know," but like actually, like you go, "Yeah, why can't I? Why couldn't I? Am I the only person getting in my way? Probably." And like having the support and the belief from other people has been massively impactful. So yeah,
I I think that's we put a lot of effort into the final cohort. So we might have 25 brands that are all perfect for the program, and we want every single one of them. But making up that diversity of founders and products and personalities, we spend a lot of time on because what you get out of the cohort of people in the trenches with you is really really valuable. I think Louis said it perfectly. It's a chance to work on your business, not in your business, and to take sort of 10 weeks and go, actually, how do we get to the next level? How do we solve all the problems that we have to solve? How do you get rid of all the legacy stuff that's built up and reevaluate that? And the founders and the people in and around the cohort can really help you that. And oftentimes, I'd say Louis would ask a question, and I'd probably say about seven of the other people would be like, "Oh yeah, I hadn't thought about that."
yeah.
So everyone's got to certain stages, but they've still got the same blind spots, insecurities. People have done something one way and it's worked, and you learn from each other as much as you learn from the program.
I know. Sorry, can I just say as well very, very quickly? I also it got to the point where I was voice noting Paul so much that I actually would say like I'm sorry for voice noting you again. Like, and I actually was it the Sponge Award I think I won as well. So like it's like I think like you are there to like absorb as much as possible. So like take full advantage of it. Like I think it is. I was asking so many questions and I just took so much from it. So yeah, ask what you can and voice note as many times as you need to.
'Cause I
100%.
think, I think Louis, that's also the kind of the founder profile we were talking about. You were quite hungry for it, and I think that, you at the end of the day, you really took advantage of what the program was there to give you. And so I think that's why we also thought today you
Mm.
were kind of a perfect candidate to talk about this program. Well, with that, without further ado, I'm going to close the webinar today, and I wanted to say a massive thank you to Louis for coming and joining us during your busy time. I've sent the link to Clear for Men. I want everyone to check it out, and we're also been
Thank
following.
you.
Yeah, of course. With that, before we close though, I just wanted to remind everyone this session has been recorded. We are going to be sharing it to everybody through their email, so check your inbox. But I've also been completely drowning you guys in links, but that's because I've sent you social media links for us to follow. Make sure you register your interest into this program if you're interested in applying. Because if you register to the form, you will be the first to know when applications open and you will receive the application form. So I really wanted to stress how important it is that you guys register through there. All the links are in the chat. And of course, join us for our next session. The next session will be a lot more sort of business oriented. We will be discussing with founders who've really been in it and done it and have shown great success in what they've done. And I think it'll be a very tactical, hands-on kind of playbook, which is exactly what we always want to provide when we do these sessions. Well, with that, thanks everyone to join us. And Paul, any last closing
No,
words?
look forward to seeing all your applications. Please send them
Yeah.
our way. If you've got any questions, just drop us a note. And thanks, Louis, for taking time
Yeah,
out
of
to join.
course. No, I
Right.
appreciate it. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you.
Okay, thank you guys. Enjoy the rest of your days.
Bye.
Bye.